creating momentum in the cannabis industry. We're here on part 2. We're here in Greeley, Colorado, and we want to talk about passions and problems. Now, we talked a little bit about the passions in the first session, which is specifically people can't be quiet when they're passionate about something. I have seen introverts become extroverts in the cannabis industry. And you know what I'm talking about. They're an introvert and you've never heard a word, but all of a sudden they got changed. And now they can't be quiet about what has happened to them. So we're going to talk about some of the passions and problems that are in the industry. I love this quote. Bob Marley is well known throughout the world. "Who are you to judge the life I live? I am not perfect and I don't have to be. Before you start pointing fingers, make sure your hands are clean." So, my question to you is, how were you raised? How were you raised? Where were you raised, and how were you raised when it connects with the cannabis industry? See, did your parents smoke weed? You know, was it something that happened on a Friday night where they rolled up a joint and gave it to you? You know, you were 5 and you couldn't go to sleep and then you slept great. I mean, how did you grow up? Were they pot puffers? What did they teach you about marijuana? Did they say it was wrong and it was sinful? How did you grow up? Because some people, cannabis equals a cuss word. They'd rather say the F word than the C word. So you got to ask yourself the question, what happened to you? Now, I'm going to be very honest with you as a group, and I'm filming because I need to go down this pathway my own self. This has never happened. I knew it was for this group. I was raised in Atlanta, Georgia, in a very religious home that definitely taught against marijuana. And it was something that was wrong to do. And I had that stigma until 2 years ago. Because sometimes you're prejudiced and biased and don't even know it. Because it's so down deep, right? And what happened is when I got called into the industry, I started recognizing something, that I was biased. I was prejudiced. And I was negative against people that were in the industry. And you can't be called into an industry that you're negative. So for all of those in the cannabis industry that are here today and those watching, as a conservative religious person who is judgmental, I would like to ask your personal forgiveness on behalf of every person that's ever gossiped, slandered, or created a stigma around you. I apologize on our behalf because we were wrong and you were right. And thank you for not losing your passion, and I pray that you'll forgive the people in your life that caused you wounds because of their attitude. So, the question is, what do you believe today, and do your actions still have prejudice undertones? If you're going to get into cannabis, you need to make sure you're clean in your heart. You're clean in your heart. You need to be ready to experience new things. You can't do that if you're going to judge everything that everyone says because you doubt their motives. So make sure you know where you're at. So we need to stop the stigma because there's still a huge stigma globally against cannabis. So we're going to talk about 3 things: overcoming marketplace stigmas. We're going to talk about attracting loyal partners, investors, and customers. And we're going to talk about eliminating self-sabotaging beliefs and behaviors. So what are some of the marketplace stigmas? So your fill-in is this: education focuses upon information, but campaign strategies focus upon transformation. Okay. Excuse me. So let's say you're in cannabis and you say this: I want to inform people about cannabis. I'm passionate about it. And you meet somebody who is against it, who's clueless. Guess what they think? Let me give you information. And they try to train the general public in an industry that they're already against. You're not going to change people's minds with information and education. That will not work. You know what you're going to have to do? You're going to have to be creative, and you're going to have to be humorous and provocative and get them to be knocked off a little bit and say, oh my gosh, I've never thought about that. You can't come up to somebody and say, well, I know you're really judgmental against the cannabis industry. Against the cannabis industry, and here's a 5-page document why you're wrong. That doesn't work. You know, that was something that when I was at the NOCO Hemp Expo last year, I left more confused because I didn't understand any of the things they were talking about. They started talking about something called isolates. And I was like, that sounds like a disease. I got isolates. You know, I don't know what isolates are. And by the time they were done educating me for 2 days, I was completely lost because I didn't know what to think about. So remember, this is about transformation, not just head knowledge. Don't believe education is going to change the world. It's your marketing campaigns that are so creative that people say, now I understand. This is exciting. You know what Coca-Cola doesn't do? Hi, we're Coca-Cola. This is a Coke. It's red and white. It's very important that you drink this if you're tired because it has caffeine in it. There are 5 different components. They don't do that. You know why? They're not trying to educate you. They're trying to say, this is about your life. And they have marketing campaigns. You want to be creative? Don't educate. Change your life. Number 2, choose to engage by redirecting their misunderstandings. Okay. So, anybody that's in the industry knows that there is a little bit difference between CBD and THC. They know there's a little bit of difference, right? And when you understand that, then you can help other people understand that too. So when someone sees someone carrying a hemp plant with them, and they're walking around, and because people that are in the hemp industry love hemp plants. Have you seen this? They have like window stickers, They name their dog, hemp, it's so cool. So they're walking around with a hemp plant, and what happens? They're engaged in what they're doing. So when somebody says, well, that's a marijuana plant, say, oh, no. This is a hemp plant. Can you tell the difference? No. Well, you want a bite? I can eat it? No, I'm just kidding. But I've got some oil right here that came from this very crop that's going to help you. See, you got to engage their misunderstandings. So here's my question. Do you know what the misunderstandings are in the marketplace before you sell your products and services? People become biased based upon tradition. Isn't that true? Typically what your parents taught you, you're going to believe today. That's called a tradition. Traditional thinking, therefore, you must learn how to communicate through unconventional means. Now, I know right now social media can close you down quicker than you can snap a fly, because right now there's still too many regulations and compliance issues that we're working through. So please be careful. You probably don't want to go on Facebook right now and have a joint rolled up and you smoking it and saying everybody should smoke marijuana because that's the right thing to do. You probably will be closed down very quickly. And I guarantee you this, because I just heard this morning, you cannot boost on Facebook currently if you're going to be in the marijuana industry, and sometimes even the CBD industry. So be careful what you do online. You're going to have to be unconventional. Unconventional. When you walk around in an expo, that's a cannabis expo, you know what you're going to find? Things you've never seen before. In fact, last year I had something amazing. It's called the hemp sandwich. It was 2 chocolate chip cookies and ice cream in the middle, and it was a dessert, and it was hemp. And when I took a bite, I said, if this is hemp, I can eat this all day long. So, you got to be unconventional. What are you going to do that's different from everyone else? Because you can say, but David, there's right now all these different people doing the same thing. No, they're not doing the same thing. You have to identify what makes you unique and then market that uniqueness. Next, only sold out cannabis connoisseurs will discuss openly with disagreeing potential customers. Okay, when you have somebody that's against the cannabis industry, if you're just dabbling in it, if you guys just go kind of a toe into it, you're not going to talk to them. You're going to say, what do you do? The cannabis industry. Sorry, say again? I help people with their health. I help people sleep better. Oh, how do you do that? I have different products. You've heard people like this. They're embarrassed about the industry. So you have to be completely sold out in this industry if you're going to make a difference, because you're going to have people that are going to disagree with you all the time. And if you'd like to find a lot of those people, they're in the Southeast, you can go back to Georgia. I can give you some names if you want to talk to people that will disagree with you to sharpen your pitch on the phone. It'd be awesome. Okay, great. Now, this is a key one. This is not an industry you want to wing in. You don't want to wing it in cannabis. You do not want to be by yourself in this industry. You're going to be chewed up and spit out. And the reason why is you need a team. If you don't have the right team, you're all by yourself, you don't have enough momentum, and it's really not that fun. Nobody wants to make millions by themselves. You want to have a team that you really care about. So this is about attracting the loyal partners, investors, and customers. Now this is really easy. As you know, it's easy to gain investors. Investors are a dime a dozen. They're all over the place. You don't want to get an investor that only wants to grow his money and doesn't care about cannabis. Please don't take their money. Ask them to go somewhere else to find an investment. That's not an investor you want, because that person's not vested in your company. You want somebody that says this: man, I love cannabis. It's awesome. I can't wait to pour money into it so I can help more people. Sure, they'll get a return on investment, but they're in the industry because they're passionate about it. So, how do you get these people? Well, let's talk about the power of partnership. The key to long-term success in the cannabis industry will be found in the quality of the people and the companies that you interact with on a daily basis. So when you walk into a room and you're going to network, you're going to ask the question, who are the people in the room that I most connect with, that I want to talk to? You're going to screen those people. You're going to get to know them. Then you're going to invite them to be a part of the team so that together you can grow the organization. If you're doing this by yourself, you're not going to last long. This is going to take a whole team for you to be successful. Number 2, you need to form strategic alliances and joint ventures. Now, the joint ventures one is very, very important. This is a joint venture. You're here because of a joint venture that's between the Hemp Business Advisors and Community Banks of Colorado. And we marketed together for this event. It means that the bank's list that they send out the emails to for Beyond Banking, we don't have any of that information. We've got none of that database. That's what a joint venture will do. It literally brings the best of their organization and the best of your organization, and together you're exponentially going to grow. So make sure you partner with the right companies. And if you partner with the wrong company, you'll know real quick, because your momentum will go down very fast. Lastly, gaining customers is an easy process when implementing effective marketing tools and leveraging the networks of your partners. So, here's my question to you. The next home and garden show that takes place, have you thought about sponsoring all of the bags and putting something small that's a product inside there, a flyer inside there, that you can actually partner with a home and garden show, that you can get to those people? You have to think outside the box creatively if you want to grow in the industry. Now, before I move on, there are 2 individuals that have helped me start the Hemp Business Advisors. Carrie Cox is one of our co-founders, and she's our corporate liaison. She works at a high level with larger companies and brings them together to form joint ventures. Michaela Wilkinson is my wife, and she's also a co-founder and creative director. In fact, a lot of our logo is made by her. Our website that we launched last night at 11 o'clock is made by her, and she helps us to be professional in the marketplace. Those are people that I can trust. Those are people when I say, hey, let's all go out to Torchy's Tacos and talk about the cannabis industry. We are there for a couple hours because we're having so many great ideas. You need to make sure that you find the right partners, because they'll last a lifetime with you. So, let's eliminate some self-sabotaging beliefs and behaviors. So here's some beliefs you can count on. Your complete commitment is what is required before you begin in any new industry or product. You can't say, you got to do your due diligence. Get into the organization. Go to some hemp expos. Go to some marijuana expos. Get into the cannabis and try it and see if you fit in with the people. But then when you say, you know what? These are the people I want to do business with, you need to decide once and for all that this is the commitment that I'm going to make. Because until you commit, you don't have any momentum behind you. Momentum doesn't follow ambiguous people. Momentum follows those who have made a decision. So make the decision to get in or to get out. Number 2, it's a dangerous game to dabble in, so choose another industry. Okay, if I can talk somebody out of getting involved in cannabis, I will talk them out of it. Why? Because it's still got too many issues right now and too many problems, and you can be in jail, just like the gentleman that was driving the truck from Oklahoma that had, everybody knows about it here in the U.S. The bottom line is, because there's certain things that are federally allowable, it doesn't mean it's allowable at the state or county level. Therefore, if you want to dabble in something, I would encourage you, dabble in another field. Don't dabble in cannabis. Now, this is an important one. Don't rely upon your past experiences, since the cannabis industry has too many innovations that shatter past paradigms. Okay, the older you get, the more stuck in your ways you are, right? I mean, some of you are morning people. This was an easy, to be here at 7 o'clock. Some people showed up at 7. I couldn't believe it. You know, I'm a night person. 7 o'clock in the morning is like asking me to cut a leg off. So for those of you that are morning people, like, this was easy. I don't know why anybody's complaining. Okay, your experiences that you've had in your past, here's what people think. I was an accountant. Therefore, when I come into the cannabis industry, I'm going to just take a couple clients and do some accounting work. No, you don't. You want to get into the industry, understand it completely, because you cannot give your wisdom from the past will not work for the present in the cannabis industry. There are too many people talking about too many new things that nobody's ever thought of before. It's never been done. It's never been created. So if you're an accountant or a lawyer, you got to be either all in, but don't dabble in it. Understand it. Talk to people, interview people. We're talking to people all the time. Tell us, why did you come here today? What brought you here? I want to know about your passion. So, don't think because you know something, it's going to work in cannabis. You may be horribly wrong. Now, excuse me. This is one of our challenges. I have met so many wonderful people who are farmers, who are extractors, who are genetics, who are lawyers, or accountants that actually are in the industry. I've met so many wonderful people. Do you know what the best thing about wonderful people is? Is they believe the best about you. If I met this gentleman right here for the very first time and I shook his hand and he asked me what I could do for him, I will be honest with him. I don't have any walls up. People that know me know I don't have walls up. I will be honest with him. I'll say, I can help you in these 3 ways. You know what he'll do? He'll believe me. Shocking, isn't it? He'll believe me because he's a good person. And good people believe that other people are good like they are. And there's so many amazing people in cannabis that are good people. And they believe the best about others. Guess what that means? There is a negative backlash to that. It's called naivety. And naivety means, because I believe the best about you, I don't do my due diligence. So even though, your name again? Carrie says, David, I believe you, I will say to him, can I send you a couple links of some of the work that we've done? Would you like a couple of my clients that you can talk to? Why am I doing that? I'm saying to him, if you'd like to do your due diligence, please see what I've done in the past. Good people are being screwed today in this industry because they're too naive. Be careful what you promise that you were going to do. Be careful before you sign a document that you followed up and checked up on that person. It's not about skepticism. It's about being a good business person. Because a good business person checks up on references. If you want to do business with us, you can check our references. Don't sign any documents until you are ensured that a lawyer has looked at them. Do not believe the best about somebody else and be naive about it. You believe the best about them. And then what do? Your due diligence to ensure that if you sign something, it is truly the right thing for you to do. You're going to see people screwed in cannabis more than any other industry in the world. You're going to see it because there's so many good people. And you know what? There's blood in the water. There's blood in the water right now. When President Trump in December 2018 signed the Farm Bill, it changed America forever. And we're going to see the ripple effect of that. And that means that there's blood in the water. The sharks are out. They're looking for vulnerable people, and they will come after you. And they'll deceive you purposely to get your ideas and to get your money. Don't become skeptical. Believe the best about people. Do your due diligence. Oh, that's the most important one. If you're going to partner with another company, you're going to partner with an extractor, you're going to partner with a product company, a manufacturing company, I need you to ask a question from them, and this is really important. This is called a 5-page business plan. Not a 50-page, a 5-page business plan. This is extremely important. when I meet somebody and I say to them, so how long have you been in the industry? They typically ask me this question, legally or illegally? And I'll say, okay, I didn't know that was the right question. How long have you legally been in cannabis? How long have you illegally been? And they will give me two different numbers. I love it. What a great industry. Now, if I ask the person, let's see, you'll find, here's our person. Let's say I meet this person. And we start talking. He's like, I'm an extractor. I'm like, that's awesome. Can I have your business card? And he says this, I don't have one yet. Do not partner with them. Right. Good Lord, you got to be kidding me. If you're a business person, people partner with people. They haven't even set up. So you say, now, what's your email address? Now, listen very carefully. I'm going to be very careful what I'm about to say. If you do not use your domain name as an email, if you use Outlook, if you use Gmail or Yahoo, you look like a scam artist. Because every single person who is a true business person will never do that. So if you don't have a proper domain name, nobody's going to believe you. I will not take you serious if you're not a serious business owner. I want to know that you're in this. So when you say, Bob's Farm at yahoo.com, I'm not going to do business with you. I won't, because you're not a good business person. And I'm a great business person. It's called email at thehempbusinessadvisors.com, because we are a real company. So when you don't have a business card, you don't have an email address, you don't have a website, you don't have a Facebook page, you don't have a LinkedIn, guess what it means to the other person who's a proper business person? You're just dabbling. No, I've been in the industry for 5 years. Oh no, you're not serious. If you were serious, you'd have a business. So what kind of company do you have? Oh no, it goes through my personal account. Oh my. Do you not understand the liabilities of that? There needs to be more C corporations started in the next 24 months than in any industry. If you believe there's a 1% chance you're going to be screwed or you're going to be sued, you need to make sure you do not open an LLC or an S corporation. It will be horrible when you get sued. You can lose everything because of it. So make sure you have a C corporation, you get a double taxation on it, and it protects you in all your products, and because it's not you, you can't be sued. So protect yourself. Get liability insurance. So when somebody gives me a 5-page business plan, it means this. They paid for one. Now listen, they paid for one, so they have the money. Or they took a week and sat down and thought through the elements of their business. When you don't have a business plan, you prove you're not serious to anybody around you. So, because the Hemp Business Advisors launched today, guess what I don't have? A 5-page business plan. Guess what I'm going to be doing over the next couple months? A 5-page business plan. Because when somebody says, David, what does the Hemp Business Advisors do? Here it is. And on there is everything that needs to take place. So, Joe Parisi, just met him last week. He said, make sure you have a business plan, a distribution model in place, and know that serious money will be made in the next 3 years. Here's how we met Joe. We were meeting with Michelle O'Hare, and we were talking to her, and we were talking about the cannabis industry. And the next thing you know, here's a gentleman who is staying at the hotel, who's an investor in hemp, who overheard us and said, do you mind if I join the discussion? And we had an amazing talk because of it. And I said, Joe, what are some things, if you were to encourage the people in cannabis, what do they need? First thing he said, business plan. Second thing, if you're going to distribute your product, you need to have a distribution model. And number 3, you're going to become wealthy. You're going to see people that are going to grow their wealth exponentially faster than you could possibly imagine. But that's only because in the next 4 years, the forecast is to grow the cannabis industry from 10 billion to 20 billion in 4 years. That is fact. You can research it. Here's the problem with that. You're going to find more people that are going to go under in their business because you cannot sustain exponential growth without the infrastructure and the foundation. Get ready. You can be wealthy or you can lose it all. What a great industry to be in. All right. So as we wrap up, we create business plans. We don't do this for cheap because we're not going to get you in trouble. Our business plan for 5 pages is $10,000. You don't have the money? Don't talk to me about it. You want it done? we'll do it. It's about a week's worth of work. I got to know everything about what you're doing. But when you're done, you will have something that is quotable. It's $10,000 up front. We give you the 5 pages at the end. When you're 100% satisfied, you have your document. Hopefully you know how to get your email address sorted. The infrastructure development. Okay, here's the next thing. When you hire somebody, do you know that you're now liable? You're liable for that person. Okay, that means you got to pay taxes. Well, not if you're in marijuana, just give them extra money, it's okay. But it means that you are taking responsibility for that person. The first thing you should give to them is a job description and contract, because that helps the person knows what they're going to do. If a person is a horrible, horrible employee, the only way you can legally fire them is based upon their job description and contract. If you don't have this developed for yourself, I have a 5-page contract with myself as the CEO of the Global Equipping Center, and I'll have another one for the hemp business advisors because I have a different role there. I'll have my own job description. I have my own contract. So I know what I'm doing and I know if I'm effective. I won't fire myself because I'm not ineffective. But the only way to get rid of a bad employee is to have the documentation to prove it. And if you don't have your infrastructure, guess what? You're going to hold back with your growth because you don't have everything ready. Get your infrastructure ready for the wealth. Lastly, this is an important one. You're going to see more nonprofits starting than you've ever seen in the past. The reason why this is we're going to talk about in part 3. Therefore, we want to challenge you as we wrap this session up to think differently about the hemp industry, make your commitment, find the right partners, and be ready for the exponential growth that's going to happen around the world.